All right. All right. I'm focused now. I'm focused. Now, there's been a lot of speculation when it comes to the murders of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. For years, forget years, for decades, we've been getting spun around with these stories and these theories on this, right? There's a guy, a detective by the name of Russell Poole. We all know Russell Poole. If you know anything about Notorious B.I.G. murder, you know who Russell Poole is. Russell Poole probably did the best detective work on this case than anybody else. And he they treated him like a whistleblower and he was doing his job. His job was to find out who killed Notorious B.I.G., right? And they treated him like a whistleblower. Why? Because allegedly, and I have to say allegedly because this case is still open, allegedly that cops were involved in the conspiracy. LAPD cops were involved in the conspiracy to kill the Notorious B.I.G. His story never changed to the day he died, but they treated him like a whistleblower, and his job was to find out who killed Biggie. But being that uh, at the time that Biggie got killed, Los Angeles Police Department just went through a scandal which was called the Rampart scandal. In the Rampart scandal, you had cops that was robbing, killing, stealing, doing all kinds of stuff on the other side of the badge, but using a badge to operate like they was on the other side of the badge. So they badge was like a double-headed coin. You know what I'm saying? They wake up, flip their badge, psh, nigga criminal. Flip their badge, and psh, I'm a cop. You know what I'm saying? So the Rampart scandal involved some of the cops that used to be involved with Death Row Records. Some of the cops that was involved in the Rampart scandal were friends with Kevin Gaines, who was Suge Knight's wife's side nigga. Kevin Gaines died in Suge Knight's wife's car. Kevin Gaines got killed by another cop. And this cop gave testimony at one point and said that he was sanctioned by LAPD to kill Kevin Gaines, allegedly, right? I know this is a lot to keep up with, but try to stay with me, right? Because I got to give backstory for people that don't know. I just can't jump straight into it, right? I know some of y'all know this information forever. This, that, y'all been knew that. Yeah, you ain't saying nothing, choke. This is called real TV right here. Okay? I'm a producer. I'm a writer. I'm a director. I have to paint the picture This ain't for you, motherfucking microwave, goddamn YouTube watchers. You can leave. This ain't for you. This is for the people that want the full scope of the story so they can understand if they just tapped in. Everybody ain't been watching me from day one. It's people that just started watching today. They just seen that title and they clicked on, so I have to give them the backstory. Some people may not even know who these people are that I'm talking about. So you have to paint the picture for them. I'm teaching some of you niggas some shit that be also stealing my stuff, right? My style, the way I do things. Like Vlad, my story from my mouth when I go through everybody's whole life. Now niggas want to be action. Yo, yeah, where you go? Where you anyway? But I gotta take you back and bring you forward. So the Rampart scandal is, Rampart cops were David Mack, Rafael Perez, who worked for the LAPD, right? So at times they were over working at death row. Now you have some people out here that lie and say they didn't work for death row, this, that, and the third, because they didn't get no checks from death row saying death row on it. But if you ever heard Sharitha Knight and Reggie talk on the phone, they are not stupid to leave a paper trail. You heard Sharitha tell Reggie, I'm not stupid. I ain't gonna leave no paper trail. So Suge could find out, boop, 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 boop. Because Reggie, kill us both, this, that, and that. So we know these are intelligent people to not leave a paper trail. We know cops know how to moonlight and work for other companies and not want to pay taxes on that money. This is why they fucking moonlighting anyway, so they can have some money that they ain't got to pay no taxes on, right? Off the books money. Yeah, we know. Moving forward. So the Rampart cops get investigated. They get investigated. They get arrested. One of the cops, Rafael Perez, is one of the people that is alleged to be involved in the conspiracy to kill Big. David Mack, another one that got locked up in the Rampart scandal, is also allegedly connected to the Biggie murder, right? Now, and these are friends of Kevin Gaines, which is Sharitha Knight's side nigga, right? Who I told you died in her car getting into something with another LAPD officer because he's throwing gang signs. Sharitha's side nigga, Kevin Gaines, is throwing gang signs to a cop. But the cop was already on him, following him, and they said they was investigating him, but for some type of, I don't know if it was money or whatever it was, but ultimately the cop Ligo made a statement, a confession saying that he was sanctioned by some LAPD officers to kill Kevin Gaines, right? Now, I showed all this information yesterday and the day before. So if you want to go back and watch and to see it and read it for yourself, you can do that, right? So I tell y'all about the Rampart scandal, right? Because within the Rampart scandal became a bunch of lawsuits. And not only lawsuits, but being the fact that these cops was dirty and, robbing, stealing, and killing, they had to release a bunch of innocent people because they arrested a lot of people. They planted stuff on people. So a lot of people, Los Angeles Police Department, if they had anything, if if they had a case and then these cops was involved, a lot of people got let go from jail, and there was a lot of lawsuits that kicked out, and LAPD had to pay, I think, hundreds of millions in lawsuits because of the Rampart scandal, because of these dirty cops. Now, I tell you all that to say LAPD took a blow to the pockets, okay, with the Rampart scandal. Right after that, Biggie gets killed. So now they already ain't got no money, right? So this goes back and ties back to Russell Poole. Now, Russell Poole, he's put on the case. As soon as he come back to the office and say, yo, it's cops involved in Biggie murder. And it's the same fucking cops in the Rampart shit. They like, oh, fuck, Russell. And Russell's like, yo, Russell, man, you know, you can't say nothing, Russell. But Russell ain't with the shits. He not a dirty cop. He's a clean American apple pie cop. He don't care who did the crime. He wants to solve it. Oh, well, too bad. Is LAPD involved allegedly? I'm telling the truth. This is the biggest case. I done put in all this work, day and night, trying to find no Christopher Wallace killer. And when I stumble across it and I see that some cops are allegedly involved, and the same fucking cops in the Rampart scandal, the chief is like, nigga, what you trying to get me fired? Allegedly. You know, I came up with that on my own. A lot of this is just for entertainment purposes. Okay, some of the stuff that I say is for entertainment and purposes too. So don't take everything that I say literal. I am a comedian and at heart. Okay, niggas be talking about, oh man, you said you slandering niggas. This is for some of this is for entertainment purposes. True. Okay. So now, like I said, instead of Russell Poole looking like the best detective in the world, they ostracizing him and making him try to look like a whistleblower. And they don't want to take on the evidence because why? We just lost a couple of $100 million in the Rampart. Said, how much Biggie worth? 500 million. Man, we'll bankrupt the city, man. Everybody get fired. Russell, you got to be quiet, Russell. So Russell Poole, to the day he died, never changed the story. Russell Poole worked on this case so hard, and they gave him so much resistance that he left the police department, the Los Angeles Police Department, and sued them because they wouldn't take his evidence and let him solve the case. So he quit his job. That is a real cop. Not the cops that be running around robbing drug dealers, taking their money and drugs and not arresting them. Yeah, I had a couple of those cops in my neighborhood too. Oh, yeah. We know y'all exist. What you doing with this? Get out of here. Nigga, they take all the weed, don't arrest nobody, and you go to their house and they got a big ass jar with all the weed they took off of niggas. Yeah, we know about those type of cops too. Yeah, I know somebody that dated one. He used to always take all niggas weed and then have that shit in the jar. And this nigga had fucking ounces in the house that he took off niggas in the street. So we know everything don't go to the precinct. Okay? So Russell Poole leaves, retires, but he keeps looking into the case. and keeps looking and he goes deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, right? So the information that we all went through yesterday, all of this is Russell Poole's uh investigation for the LAPD. Right? These are all his notes, everything right there, all his information. Now, we know if no police was involved, this shit would have been solved. They were just some regular ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? Even though it took them to get Jam Master Jay killers, or it took decades to get Jam Master Jay killers, they eventually got them, right? Because there ain't no police involved. You see, they done found Takeoff Killer, they done found the Dolph Killers, right? But the two big niggas, the biggest artists in the world, they couldn't solve their murders. And the most biggest parties and events in the city and the night of where they got shot at. Couldn't solve those, right? Just some nigga shit, and they couldn't solve them, right? With cameras and everything. That's because they didn't want to solve it, right? And they've been getting twisted, turned around because they got police on inside that's involved in this case that's spinning them around. Oh, it's Poochie. Oh, no. It was Southside because they didn't get their money for the hit for Tupac. Oh, no. Okay. That ain't happened. Do you know what? It was Poochie. It was Poochie because Teresa said she was going to see Suge. And I don't know, maybe she could have seen Suge on the visit posing as a lawyer. And, so you bought the bottle of beer. You bought the bottle of beer at 12 o'clock, right? Well, yeah, I think it was Poochie because, Suge bought two Impalas and he gave one to Poochie. Yeah, he gave one to Poochie. So you bought the bottle of beer at 12:05. No, you know what? Teresa Swan, Gray Caden wrote a fake statement saying Poochie confessed to killing Biggie, and he showed it to Teresa, and Teresa said, "Yeah, that's what really happened. If that's what Poochie said, that's what's happened, right? Yeah. You done fucked up, right? You done fucked up, right?" So tonight, this nigga bought the bottle of beer at 1 o'clock in the morning. He done went from 12 o'clock to 12:05. This nigga bought the bottle of beer 4 in the morning. The shit I'm about to like the we going to go through. This nigga bought the bottle of beer at 4 in the morning now. You the right? So check this out. Let's go back to the case, right? Tonight, we're gonna focus on the gun, right? First, we're gonna go through this too, because I ain't go through this yesterday. Now, this here, yeah, we're gonna go through this, right? And I'm gonna put it on the screen so y'all can see I ain't making up nothing. This is all Russell Poole's investigation, right? As you can see, it's a little blurry, so bear with me, right? The murder of Tupac Shakur synopsis, right? The murder of Tupac was a lesson in street justice that turned terribly wrong. Tupac Shakur was released from Dannemora prison conditionally on bail posted by Marion Suge Knight, funded by Knight's company Death Row and his business partners. Tupac Shakur was to have recorded 3 records under the contract. He had no other obligation in Death Row beyond that. Now, y'all remember, if you watched and you seen the shit that Pac signed on the napkin, that was his contract. That's what they agreed to, right? 3 records, a double album, All Eyes on Me. That's one. That's 2, and then Machiavelli 3. Pac was done. Giving the backstory for those people that don't know all this. For all you smart niggas, I know. Oh, Ben knew that. By August 27, 1996, Shakur had completed the 3rd album. During that same time, he had also recorded close to 200 additional songs, some in part and some complete. They were stored on master tapes. Shakur was charged for the studio time personally against his large royalty account, so he providably owned those tapes. Further, by August 27, 1996, Shakur had also providably decided to start his own recording and production company. Finally, by August 27, 1996, Shakur probably, let me make sure I'm pronouncing that shit right. Probably. In a way that is capable of being proved. Oh, provably. Provably. All right. Oh, so they provably to have proof. All right, boom. All right, cool. So where we at? Oh, fuck. I hate when it. Let me see. And then August 27, 1996, Shakur has also provably decided to start his own record and production company. Finally, by August 27, 1996, Shakur provably was going to audit Death Row as to earnings he had and what was being done with the royalty money Death Row was keeping on his behalf. Millions of dollars in trust account. Shakur was living on 20 grand a month and being told he was broke other than that. Hence the audit which is not unusual for legitimate entertainment companies. See, one thing about Pac, he was smart. If you remember, Frank said that Pac would have him go pick up 5,000 every week. Pac been in the game long enough, so he not gonna fuck off any money, and he's making sure he's only taking $5,000 a month to live. I mean, $5,000 a week to live, which is the 20 grand a month. So he could keep in his mind how much he's spending out of the budget, out of his own recording budget or out of whatever budget. He can easily know that he getting 20 grand a month. So they can't tell him, oh, nigga, you owe this, you owe that. No, nigga. Y'all gave me a check for $5,000 every fucking week, nigga. You know, that's just the sidebar. And be a smart businessman. By September 4th, 1996, Shakur had lost interest in Death Row and was in New York simply to promote his album and attend the MTV Music Awards. On the afternoon of September 4th, 1996, Shakur was provably in an altercation with Suge Knight in front of a witness, his bodyguard. That would be Michael Moore. The bodyguard states that Shakur told Knight he had no plans for staying with Death Row, and while Knight could keep the proceeds he was contractually entitled to, Shakur was out of business, out of the Death Row business. He simply wanted his masters, and he was gone. Knight was visibly upset, and the bodyguard was called in by Knight to intervene for the safety of Tupac. On September 5th, 1996, on the flight out, Shakur told Kenneth Archer, another one of the bodyguards, that he was a dead man walking. On September 6, 1996, Shakur provably made it clear he was going to tell everyone he was going to travel to Atlanta September 7th to deal with his cousin about a rifle his cousin had stolen. However, Shakur provably wanted to stay in LA with his girlfriend at the time. Either way, while Death Row crew was going to Vegas that weekend, Shakur had no interest. Between September 6th and September 7th, 1996, Shakur was convinced by Knight and Reggie Wright Jr., to cancel his plans and to go to Vegas. Shakur arrived in Las Vegas September 7th, 1996. His bodyguards were provably told by attorney George Callesis in a meeting with all the right-way security staff at Callesis' office September 7th, 1996, and they were not allowed to carry their weapons on their person, even though many had concealed carry permits of their own. These niggas had their... Why didn't you want them to have no guns, Reggie? Or why didn't George... Why they couldn't have their guns? And they had concealed... Man, listen. All right, let me move on. Further, Wright provably told Shakur's bodyguard, Michael Moore, who refused to relinquish his weapon, that he was being removed from Tupac Shakur's protection. And backstory for y'all don't know, Tupac had fired Reggie prior to this trip on August 26th. So technically, Reggie had no authority to be telling Michael Moore not to be on Tupac. Furthermore, Wright provably told Frank Alexander, the other bodyguard, that he was going to bodyguard Shakur, but would not be given a radio for his work. They were all out of the norm, unusual, even for right-way staff. Now, why y'all don't think Reggie wanted Frank to have the walkie-talkie that said, got him? because they was using the walkie-talkies for communication. Reggie would be able to, Frank would be able to hear them as Michael Moore did. And why wouldn't you want Frank to have a walkie-talkie? Oh, that's right, because Tupac fired you. That's right. I'll be forgetting he fired you. These were all out of the normal and unusual, even for right-way staff. With no weapon and no communication in crowded Las Vegas, that sort of protection was no protection for Shakur at all. Throughout the entire evening of September 7th, the whereabouts of Moore and Alexander were provably being monitored by Wright through phone calls to the room of Moore to make sure that Moore was no longer personally with Shakur. As to Alexander, without a radio, he was forced to leave Shakur several times by himself to do unusual check-ins. Alexander actually lost Shakur once as a result from that. Immediately after attending the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM, Suge Knight and Tupac got into an altercation with the man who had no ticket to the fight, lied to the police as to why he was in Vegas, had no money to gamble with, had been a part of a backstory regarding a feud between members of Death Row and a man over a necklace with the Death Row emblem on it. The altercation lasted 4 minutes, and this man was beaten and kicked in the lobby of the MGM Grand Hotel. Knight provably then ordered everyone to travel to his home to change clothes. Even though they did not anticipate the Tyson fight ending abruptly that night, they were provably scheduled to attend Club 662 straight away from the fight. Hold on, y'all. I need some water. At Knight's home, Knight killed Tom for an unknown reason. Asked Shakur to ride to his car with a bodyguard in it. At Knight's home, Knight killed Tom for an unknown reason. Asked Shakur to ride in his car without a bodyguard in it, which was also unusual, and then made the decision that they were going to travel to Club 662 indirectly via the largest and busiest street in the city. Instead, the direct route, which went around the populated areas of Vegas from the point Alexander, with no gun and no radio, was in the behind car. That's fucking kind of crazy. Whose gas tank provably had been left empty with the light on and was forced to drive behind Knight and Shakur. Yo, bro. These niggas is good. This is how you know these niggas got away with the big shit. These niggas is good. At the intersection of Koval and Flamingo, in spite of being totally anonymous on a busy Vegas street, Shakur and Knight's car was pinned into a 3-point block, leaving only the right lane open, the side of Shakur's car, and only exposing Shakur. A white Cadillac made a worry-free approach, completing a 4 point block surrounding Shakur's vehicle, similar to the way many South American hits are made. A gunman rolled down the window and at point blank range, fired 12 to 13 rounds to the side of Shakur's vehicle. Unable to defend himself and without normally armed bodyguard, Shakur was shot at and only struck one time. The shooter's provable action was not to hit Knight or Shakur at all, but to make it appear that they were targets in the drive-by. In fact, had a shot not hit the ring on Shakur's finger, it ricocheted through his upper body cavity, through his lungs. There may not have any contact at all, in spite of 13 shots being fired from less than 4 feet away. What? So you tell me one shot hit Pac? The shooter's provable action was not to hit Knight or Shakur at all, but to make it appear that they were targets in the drive-by shooting. In fact, had a shot not hit the ring on Tupac's finger and ricocheted up through his upper body cavity throughout his lungs, there might not have even been any contact at all, in spite of 13 shots being fired from less than 4 feet away. Oh, them niggas, what? If Tupac would have had a vest on, that nigga would have been alive, bro. Michael Moore heard over the radio's rights. Michael Moore heard over Reggie Wright Jr.'s radio a voice transmitting the message to Wright. Got him. At the time, Shakur was shot. The military calls this a live fire exercise. Knight had provably already set up a cover story through his contacts with the Compton PD, for whom Reggie worked, and Wright's father was the head of the Compton police gang detail. In Los Angeles, and members of Death Row entourage, namely Trayvon Lane, who immediately after the shooting started telling everyone at Club 662 that the man that they had beat up in the MGM casino shot Shakur. He never made that claim after that. Shakur was to believe that his soon departure from Death Row was going to expose him to elements Death Row could not protect, the cover story, and Passy Orlando Anderson being the blame for the shooting already cast before the shooting. Shakur had previously aligned himself closer with Death Row because of provably manufactured East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Knight and Wright knew that this incident would likely bring Shakur back to the fold and his money, and what they were going to do with it, a continued secret. See, I think Russell Poole back then, I think he thought Suge had something to do with it. But I think later on he found out he was wrong. But he thinking that Suge is in conspired. Him and Reggie did it together. No, Suge ain't had nothing to do with this. Now that you see the overall evidence, allegedly, it's all Reggie. Or not all Reggie. Reggie and some other people, 2 other people, allegedly a white person and a black woman. And conspiracy with allegedly some off-duty cops, right? Well, the evidence I see, that's where it point, allegedly, right? After the shooting, Knight did not return to his Vegas home. Discharged the next day with a head injury, he instead went back to LA for 2 days and returned to Vegas to answer questions with 3 attorneys in tow. Shakur died a week later, primarily from the ricochet wounds. That shit's crazy. The bullet hit his ring and ricocheted into his chest. Fuck. He would have hit a fucking vest. That shit would have just probably got lunged in the vest. Damn, Pop. The corrupt Compton police gang unit, headed by Wright's father, Reggie Wright Sr., immediately started propagating the legend that the Shakur shooting, not yet then a murder, was caused by the Orlandoson Patsy. This led to gang-related series of shootings that Compton police said were related to the Shakur shootings without any name or credible witness to back this up. Y'all heard that, right? This shit happened in Vegas. These niggas in Compton are already telling them Orlando Anderson did it. And these niggas, like, how? Y'all wasn't even investigating. Y'all ain't even in that jurisdiction. But I'm going to show y'all how. Because I'm going to show y'all Reggie, allegedly, Reggie Wright Jr., Sr., allegedly, Sharita Wright, Knight, allegedly, Kevin Gates, allegedly, all in the motherfucking MGM Grand that night. I'm going to show you Reggie and them father talking to Orlando or allegedly, right? And the reason I'm saying allegedly, because of the video. You know what I'm saying? But you can see it. Those who there, wait till you see. Y'all gonna be blown the fuck away. Pardon my language. The corrupt Compton police gang unit, headed by Wright's father, Reggie Wright Sr., immediately started propagating the legend that Shakur shooting, not yet then a murder, remember that, was caused by the Anderson Patsy. This led to the gang-related series of shootings that Compton police said were related to the Shakur shootings without any name or credible witness to back this up. Yo, look how, yeah, that's crazy how they could go back to Compton and say Orlando shot him, right? You got allegedly Reggie Favre in Compton talking about Southside did it, this, that, and other. When none of these niggas in the car seen nobody. Like they ain't gonna recognize, they all in the caravan together. They just beat this nigga up with his white jersey on. You tell me he just rolled up on them, got out the window, stuck, and they ain't gonna recognize the nigga they just fucking beat up? If that ain't enough to say niggas ain't fucking thinking that all these niggas was just together. They just beat this nigga up and ain't nobody recognize the nigga they just beat up. Come on, man. No. Loud ass motherfucker. All right. It is clear that the motives leading up to the shooting were present. Number one, Knight did not want to lose Shakur or his earning power and has admitted such. Two, Knight knew he was stealing millions from Shakur, royalties, and would be caught. This came out and was proven in the 2006 to 2009 Death Row and Knight bankrupt proceedings. What is this? Bankruptcy proceedings. All right. Knight has a history of violent convictions that had a history of using violence anytime he wanted to make a point with death row artists. This was also brought forward in that. What is that? Let me look that word up. Adversarial. Adversarial. Opposed. Hostile. In which parties dispute have the responsibility of finding the present evidence involving or characterized by conflict or opposition. Adversarial. Okay. This was also brought forward in the adversarial complaints of several death row artists in the 2000 and 2006 bankruptcy proceedings. Knight did not want to give up control of the master tapes, and even under what the fuck is it? And even under even under court order. Knight did not want to give up the control of the master tapes, and even under court order to release them, still had them what's that word? Sequestered in Michigan under 2008. This was also brought forward in the 2006 to 9 bankruptcy proceedings, and also by the non-related seizure of the masters by Livingston County Sheriff's Department in Michigan. Knight had also remortgaged the tapes after Shakur's death in overlapping deals. Wow. Damn, my nigga, they only supposed to have 3 albums, not all his shit. 120 songs? Shit. That's like 9 more albums. Equally present in Reggie Wright Jr.'s ties to Compton PD gang units and Knight. It was not until McPherson complaint in 2007, the Clear Channel complaint in 1998, and the other complaints that the entire scope of Wright's trust with Knight was understood. The trust relationship between Wright and Knight was cemented when Knight, to avoid creditors, transferred a $6 million property in Wright's name. Oh, there goes your motherfucking motivation to get rid of motherfucking Suge, brother. Fucking Suge transferring shit in Reggie's name. That's where Reggie benefits from. Is that the house you in right now, motherfucker? Now I get it. Oh, you and Sharitha was going to get over like a fat rat. Nigga, hell yeah, get rid of Suge, nigga. What? Let Suge get in the car with Pac, nigga. That $6 million is mine. In 1998, in other complaints, the other scope of rights trust with Knight was understood. The trust relationship between Wright and Knight was cemented when Knight, to avoid creditors, transferred a $6 million property in Wright's name. Wright and Knight were much closer than the owner of Death Row and his security manager. Wright had direct access to hire and employ Compton police officers. Wright Sr. was in charge when drugs and other property disappeared from the Compton police evidence room. God damn. Alonzo. They had Alonzo in every goddamn county in in California, nigga. Wright Sr. was in charge when drugs and other property disappeared from the Compton police evidence room. Wright Sr. was well looked upon by the gang community, and his word that the shooting was gang related would have stuck. Wright was well familiar with Vegas police as well and employed them September 7th, 1996 as well. Tupac Shakur killing K-Sheet. Why is it federal jurisdiction? Multi-state, state line jurisdiction issues. What's this? Number one. What's that? Damn. Premeditation motive. Oh, premeditation motive in California, conspiracy to commit. Now, what Russell Poole is breaking down here is where he said, this is where the feds could pick up Reggie, right? One, they saying that the feds could pick up Reggie, right? Federally, because remember, they saying that Reggie held a meeting with the gang niggas in California to get sanctioned to put the murders on Tupac and Biggie. I mean, Tupac and Suge Knight, allegedly, right? Everything I'm saying here, I'm just breaking down here, but I'm saying allegedly because I'm saying the words, and I don't want these motherfuckers trying to say, "Oh, you said that." No, right? This is all from the case. So if y'all hear me saying alleged, I'm just saying that to protect myself as far as TV goes, right? So the premeditation part, you see there is the motive, right? And then in California, they had the motive. The motive they got when they had the conspiracy to commit it in California. When they said Reggie met with the gangs and asked them, "Yo, is it cool that we killed Pac and Suge?" You know what I'm saying? And they said him, David Cannon, all of them met with these gangs, but they made it look like a gang summit or whatever. Allegedly, this was being said, right? So that's where the feds could get Reggie right now. Well, they could get Reggie in this paperwork because what Russell Poole said, this started, even though Pa got killed in Las Vegas, the premeditation part of it started in California. The motive started in California. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to move on. Two, in the multi-state charge that they could charge him with jurisdiction issues is that whoever killed Pac, they left Vegas and went back to LA or went back to California. Because ultimately, remember, the gun is found in California, and we're going to get to the gun in a minute, right? So not only did the killers kill in Vegas, but they fled the state, right? So that's where it go across state lines, right? So that would be two charges, right? under the federal guidelines if they want to go and charge Reggie right now, right? B, gross negligence, incompetence at local levels. Las Vegas Metro Police Department, gross negligence. At least 6 direct, indirect witnesses never interviewed with no explanation. At least 1 eyeball witness confirmation of killing motive never interviewed, right? So this is where Vegas is liable, right? Because they ain't doing their motherfucking job. Gross negligence, right? Under that, Compton PD files provably false police reports. Compton PD corruption and closure key, right? Compton School Police still in operation. Officers involved in security for Shakur. Multi-agency law enforcement jurisdiction, too difficult to coordinate. Possible federal bankruptcy fraud, ties to motive and bankruptcy filings, adversarial actions. Additional witnesses never interviewed formally. Benjamin Ogletree, Shakur attorney, subject matter Shakur terminating relationship with Death Row Records, starting Euthanasia Productions, Machiavelli Records, and 24/7 Productions. These are people that could have got interviewed to prove these theories or these facts and the case, to build the case against Reggie, right? These are the witnesses that they couldn't get, or to build the case against whoever did it, not just Reggie, because in his theory, he's saying Reggie and Suge, right? So Tracy Robinson, Shakur business partner, 24/7 Productions, subject matter. Shakur was going to order Death Row Records and was leaving Death Row Records, new business setup. Yasmin Fuller, Shakur security at Euphemism Productions, subject matter. Shakur had terminated Death Row Records and David Kenner, Death Row's attorney. She did it for Shakur. See, these are all your witnesses that if they wanted to solve Tupac's murder on the federal level, they want to charge him. These are your witnesses to show motive. These are your witnesses to why it's in federal jurisdiction. Gloria Cox, Shakur aunt, subject matter. Shakur refused his master tapes when he arrived and demanded them from Death Row Records, ordered to be performed on Death Row Records. She's another witness. Michael Moore, Shakur bodyguard the day of the killing, subject matter. Bodyguard disarmed the meeting with attorney George Calisis, last minute rearrangement of the bodyguards. There's all that Michael Moore was a witness for, right? Shakur, and they still got his interviews out there where the feds can still use that as evidence, right? Shakur disinterest in being in Los Angeles. Oh, he's a witness to Shakur disinterest in being in Las Vegas and the motivation to be there. Phone calls in the room checking whereabouts of bodyguards not assigned to Shakur. Confirmation of killing heard on head of the security Reggie Wright Jr.'s radio. Flight in New York, the hotel between Suge Knight and Death Row Records. Between Suge Knight and Shakur. Shakur gives 2-week notice and leaves. Never interviewed that night or any other night, nor was anyone interviewed at Club 662. And remember, everybody that did get interviewed, who went with them? Reggie. Everybody got interviewed. Reggie went with their ass. For what? To make sure they ain't say what the fuck he wanted them to say. You say, you better not say this. Y&E, Shakur attorney, subject matter, encouraged Shakur to leave old company. Right? Now, number 3, documents that have recently emerged past 3 years and never examined. Bankruptcy trustees documents. Confirms motive of hiding and not releasing Shakur assets. Confirms Shakur allegations of misappropriation of earnings. Confirms in documents. What is that? I don't know. Modus operandi of old company when artists would leave. Confirms the documents. Modus operandi of old company of violent behavior, reprisal. 5, established regular patterns of behavior in old company. I need to look this other shit up because I know I'm butchering it. MODIS. Modus operandi, which means a particular way or method of doing something, especially one that is characteristic or well established. The way in which something operates or works, method of working, a particular way or method of doing something. Modus operandi. Confirms the documents, modus operandi of old company when artists would leave. I see. Confirmed in documents, modus operandi of old company of violent behavior, reprisals. Established regular pattern of behavior in old company. And that was in the bank trustee documents. Adversarial complaints confirms repeated pattern of lies by old company. Confirms other violations of state and federal law while CEO of old company in prison. These documents and filings can lead to the further witness interviews. Number 4, further statements made publicly by persons of interest and contradiction. 2 key persons of interest, not formally made recent interviews. $100,000 publicity stunt. Interviews with national papers cloud what was an original alibi story. Oh, so when them dudes was calling the news, they're talking about they was going to drop off the gun and all that other shit. He saying that shit is cap. Those dudes, that was a publicity stunt to throw it off. And we see why. We know why. Right? Now, Here's where we get to the gun, right? Now, I'm gonna go back and show y'all in Russell Poole notes and then the investigation that the gun that killed Tupac, they found in Compton, right? And they found this gun in Corey Edwards' girlfriend's backyard. Her father finds this gun, right? Corey Edwards' girlfriend, who is Orlando Anderson's partner, homie, the one that was with Orlando Anderson at the MGM Grand, right? Or that night. The gun that killed Tupac, they found it in her backyard, his girlfriend's backyard, right? Now, how the gun got there, we don't know. But ballistics show, and we're gonna go back to that's the gun that killed Tupac. They found it 2 years later in Compton in Corey Edwards' girlfriend's backyard, the gun, right? Now, this gun, the 40 Glock, the Glock 40, right, or 40 caliber Glock, right? This gun, when they did the ballistics check on this gun, right? This gun had been checked before. When Fatal got caught with it at the House of Blues, I'm thinking in Santa Monica, right? So this is how the story goes. I'm gonna give you the story. I'm gonna give it to you three ways. I'm gonna give it to you from Kevin Hackey, and I'm gonna give you the same story from Reggie twice, right? Now, I'm gonna show it to you, but let me tell it to you. Fatal, Tupac got a show at the House of Blues, right? As they going in, Fatal got a gun on him. Not knowing that they gonna get checked at the metal detectors. They get checked at the metal detectors, and he got a gun, right? Now they try to arrest him, but being that your man Reggie's a motherfucking gangster with a badge, right? He told the dude, nah, you ain't gonna arrest him, but you could take the gun. Dude, like, yo, I'm taking the gun. Like, so he took the gun and he's like, yo, if the shit is clean, allegedly, you could get it back or something to that matter, because I don't know how they got the gun back, but however that works. But anyway, he took the gun and they went and tested the gun. and they put the gun through the FBI system and ballistic checked the gun to see if it was dirty at all. The gun came back clean. It wasn't a dirty gun, right? When the gun came back clean, Reggie sends Kevin Hackey to the police department to get the gun back. Kevin Hackey retrieves the gun and gives it to Reggie, right? Now, Reggie tells several stories when it comes to this fucking gun, right? We're going to go through his stories, right? Fast forward. That gun that was given back to Reggie winds up being the murder weapon in Tupac's case, right? That gun, when Corey Edwards' girlfriend's father took the gun and called the police and gave the gun back, when they ran the ballistics on the gun again, the gun was already checked before. The serial numbers, everything, like they had it already stored in the Santa Monica Police Department, but they gave it back to them. But when they ran the ballistics on the gun, it is actually the gun that killed Tupac. Y'all following me? So how the gun that killed Tupac landed in Compton and Corey Edwards' girlfriend's backyard, and then when they do the dog found the gun, right? The dog found somebody. They probably couldn't go in there and plant it. Probably had to throw the shit over the gate because of the fucking dog. But the owner came out and found the dog running around the backyard like this with a 40 Glock in his mouth. Call the police. They take the gun. They go and run tests on it. And it's the same fucking gun that killed Tupac. But this is Fatal's gun. So how the ops get Fatal gun? How did Tupac get killed by Fatal gun? Now let me give you the evidence. First, I'm going to show you Reggie's deposition, right? And this is all from Russell Poole's case. Check this out. This is part of it. Let me see. Maybe August, September 25. Question. In his deposition, they asked him, Reggie, do you ever recall an occasion where any of your employees provided your Right Way Protective Services employees ever provided you with a weapon that came from a police department? Reggie says, I heard that allegation before somewhere. I don't remember. I don't remember where. I know the incident you are speaking of, but the gun was never given back to me. Right? Y'all heard him, right? Question. So, you were never given a gun. So you were never provided with a weapon by any of your employees that, to your knowledge, came from a police department? No. And Kevin Hackey never provided you with a weapon that was allegedly from a police department? That's correct. You know what? That's not correct. Okay. That's not correct. Kevin did give me a gun that was taken from, it was taken, what it was, it was incident where a gun was taken from, we had a concert or something. It was taken off of, it was taken from one of the artists that was with us. And one of the other security guys took and held the gun. And somehow, I think him and Kevin hooked up. And he gave the gun back to Kevin Hackey. I remember me and Kevin meeting about it. And Kevin telling me he was going to give me the gun. I don't ever remember receiving the gun back from him. I remember the incident, but I don't remember if I got the gun or what happened to the gun. Did you ever send Hackey to get the gun? I told Kevin to go meet the guy. I think it was a Santa Monica or LAPD cop. I don't know. I don't remember too much about it. Now remember, he don't remember too much about this. And this is way back then, right? I'm going to show you how sharp this nigga memory is today. Watch this. I don't know. I don't remember too much about it. Kevin probably gave it back to the guy that he took it from. I don't know. Kevin never took it from nobody. Homie, this is a lying ass nigga, bro. This nigga's a lying ass nigga. Kevin probably gave it back to the guy, right? Remember what I'm telling you. You know what? Let me show y'all this. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Because I'm still under fair use, right? Yeah. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news report, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are used permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. And I'm going to keep my fair use disclaimer at the top of the screen because I'm going to show y'all a video right now, right? Of Reggie telling this same statement. Now, this is his deposition, right? This is the deposition, right? That we are reading right here. I'm going to finish this real quick and I'm going to read it again after this video. Question. Do you know who he took it from? It was either Tupac or one of his boys. Do you know what type of gun it was? It was a Glock, a 40 caliber. Why did you tell Kevin to go get this gun from the police officer? I was going to give it back to the owner of it. Who was the owner of it? Who? It was somebody who was somebody we were supplying security for. One of the guys. It was one of Tupac's boys. Somebody that was with Tupac. I don't know which one it was. Now remember, he don't know nothing, y'all. This is back in the day. He can't remember shit. Let me show you how fucking sharp this nigga memory is, right? Was there ever an occasion where any of your police officers ever provided you with any other weapon other than the one we're just discussing? No. So you ultimately never got the gun from Kevin Hackey? I don't remember that because I don't know what I did with the gun, if I got it. But I do remember some discussions about that now. I was wondering what the heck you were talking about. When did the Officer White get shot? What year? I didn't shoot him. I know you didn't shoot him. Did Death Row strike that? Did Right Way Protective Services ever hire individuals other than retired police officers, active police officers, or individuals who had police background? Did Death Row Records? No, Right Way Protective Services. Repeat the question. Sure. Did Right Way Protective Services ever hire anyone other than active duty officers, retired? Right? That's that. Let's stick with the gun, right? So y'all clear on the story that Reggie told in the deposition. He don't he can't remember what he did with the gun. Oh, if he got the gun down and right. I'm gonna reread that because I'm gonna have to refresh your memory, right? Are y'all following me now? Y'all still with me? Y'all following me? Am I moving too fast? If you following me, give me a yes, a thumbs up, hit the number one, something. I need to know y'all still with me. Okay. All right, y'all still following me. Good. All right.